This week on the program, cybersecurity takes center stage at Internet Governance Forum. Nigeria marks African Day for Technology and Intellectual Property. Kenya could miss Vision 2030 broadband goal.
Hello, you're warmly welcome to this edition of the program, AIT Infotech Network, and I am Bayero Agabi. AIT Infotech Network is meant to X-ray issues and development in ICT globally. To be part of the program, please, you can log on to aitinfotechnetwork.com or join us on Facebook on Bearsdale. You can text the number on your screen. For now, issues and development are main news in global ICT. For news, views, trends in ICT globally and Africa in particular, watch AIT Infotech Network for the latest news and innovation in ICT for development in Africa. Plus, what technology can do for you from business to politics, tourism and culture. I am Bayero Agabi. You're welcome.
Nigeria's capital city, Abuja, recently played host to the Nigerian Internet Governance Forum in order to consolidate the country's position at this year's Global Internet Governance Forum, scheduled to hold later this year in Baku, the Azerbaijan capital in Europe.
Internet governance has been a major issue at the international level, right from the two-phased World Summit on Information Society in 2003 in Tunis and 2003 in Geneva and 2005 in Tunis. It was one of the major issues that could not be resolved during the meetings, and global bodies were not set up to resolve these issues. And it's now important for us as a country to know how we want to govern the use of internet in Nigeria here, to have our own national position which we will take to the international level.
Gathered in this hall are stakeholders drawn from the government, professional bodies, civil societies, academia, security and law enforcement agencies, lawmakers, and so on. Their inputs would facilitate aggregation of views and opinions for the forthcoming Global Internet Governance Forum.
We have about 45 million internet users in Nigeria, cutting across different spectrum in the society. And with the recent issues related to cybercrime, of course you are aware of some of them in the recent times, it has become necessary to elevate the level of discourse in this area to a situation where we can now crystallize in terms of policy that will guide the operations of and the usage of the cyberspace. Now, because you have a lot in terms of the area of social media that is associated with the cyberspace, where really you have virtual users. You cannot really pin down a particular individual to say this is where he is operating from. You need to have policies that will actually help government in being able to stem the tide of cyber crimes. So it's become very important because the relevant stakeholders will have to come together to articulate ideas. Of course, all over the world right now, the issue of cyber crime is become really a major issue of discussion. And Nigeria also is one of the nations that is regarded as cyber crime prone. And so it's important that we also should begin to do something to address this, is because before it gets to the level where it becomes unmanageable. So I think it's very, very important at this time for us to begin to discuss these issues.
With the theme Internet Governance for Sustainable Human, Economic and Social Development, speakers of the conference noted that cyber attacks are on the increase in the country.
The commission is of the federal government. This particular event is supported by the federal government, and it's a collaborative effort. If you know the number of government agencies that are involved, NIRA is a registration of domain names, NITDA, Nigerian Communications Commission, and all the other government agencies coming together to do it is part of government's effort to curb crime on the net.
Observing that several individuals and organizations in the country have fallen prey to the activities of hackers in recent times, the organizers expressed worry over attacks on government agencies. Government, however, assured participants that all hands are on deck to forestall future attacks on government institutions. Kenya recently released findings on the progress the country has made towards achieving the Vision 2030 goal, or interconnectivity of at least 17% of the population. However, the report shows that the country might miss its target, as Kenya's internet user has stagnated by 10% since 2008. The Ministry of State for Planning, National Development and Vision 2030 that the slow growth is due to cable vandalism, cyber insecurity. The ministry also added that Kenyans are not embracing technology as funds are not readily available. One may not be entirely wrong to say the inventors of the internet had no idea how much this borderless communication platform would impact our world. Since the early 90s, when the internet boom started, it has remained the world's largest pool of information, and to some people, it's become an obsession. The latest world internet usage statistics say over 360 million people use the internet, and Africa is not left out of this.
If there's any country called Facebook, people are living in that country. Over almost 1 billion people are on that country called Facebook. And when you have 1 billion people in a place, that's power on your hands. You have on Google Plus, you have over 60 million people on Google Plus. And when did Google Plus get here? Google Plus got here about 3-4 years ago, and they have 60 million subscribers on Google Plus already. That's power on your hands. We're talking of WhatsApp, we're talking of To Go, we're talking about all this social media. The reason is because the world is moving away from the physical to the virtual. Friends are made, marriages are consummated, murders are done online now.
The rise in internet usage across Africa has had a significant impact on the people, her economy and politics. As a pool of resources, the internet plays a significant role in education, aiding learning and teaching through various internet-supported means. The man talked about electronic banking to a large extent depend on the internet to thrive. Modern agricultural successes are also traced to some form of impact of the internet. It's also helped government in relating better with the people, aiding campaigns and lots more. Beyond the communication tool, activism on the cyberspace has redefined the way people react to government decisions and rules. There is no denying the radical effects that activism has caused in the past. But today, the internet has allowed people to create online movements where they can disseminate their messages to a larger audience in a shorter period of time using the social media, especially Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, email, and podcasts. Across Africa, protests have fled against long-serving leaders and anti-people policies, beginning with the removal of the entrenched presidents of Tunisia and Egypt. From Libya to Egypt, Angola to Nigeria, and some other notable African countries, cyberactivism has greatly influenced government decisions on critical national issues. When, in the wake of 2012, the Nigerian government removed the subsidy on petroleum products, millions of Nigerians moved their protests to the cyberspace using social media to resist what majority of the people described as anti-people policy. sharing comments and posting caricature images and videos of public office holders.
People will always find alternatives. Shut down the networks, people will find alternatives to get online. There are rogue networks everywhere, the satellite connections everywhere. It's almost impossible to shut down online connectivity. And I'm happy with the Nigerian government. It's a very liberal government. It allows you to do what you want to do online, except if it's not sedition, if it's not criminal, go ahead and do. Protest or PS protest against us. It helps us get better. That's what the Nigerian government is all about, which is a very good thing.
While the concept of cyberactivism may not be entirely justified as with other forms of protest, truth is the internet has come to stay, and governments across the world may not be able to control what is done on the internet. In today's knowledge economy, absorption of new technology has become a vital component for nations to remain relevant in the global space. And this was once again brought to the front burner at the African Day for Technology and Intellectual Rights held recently in Abuja.
It's a clear indication that we are working together and we are all targeting towards changing this country through this transformation agenda of the present president, and that we are the key stakeholders in putting this country on the map of the world as one of the top 20 economies.
At the event, the National Office for Technology Acquisition Program and the Raw Material Research and Development Council unveiled the Catch Them Young scheme, an initiative designed for young inventors in secondary schools. The government agencies disclosed that the initiative would involve capacity building to fine-tune the skills of young inventors to produce marketable products, while a part of the scheme would involve cash reward for promising innovators.
Unless these natural resources are transformed into industrial raw materials, we will remain a poor nation. And therefore, part of the transformation agenda is to be able to transform the raw material sector such that the natural resources we have in this country can support industrialization.
According to the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Science and Technology, the commemoration of the African Day for Technology and Intellectual Property was an avenue to enlighten Nigerians on the need to promote science and technology. The students appeared determined to make the nation proud as they expressed hope for the future.
We can stand and make things happen in our country. I believe that we students can do that, because we are the leaders of tomorrow.
For news, views, trends in ICT globally and Africa in particular, watch AIT Infotech Network for the latest news and innovation in ICT for development in Africa. Plus, what technology can do for you from business to politics, tourism and culture. I am Bayero Agabi. You're welcome.
With the entrance of Wi-Fi technology, communications has seen a rapid advancement. Wi-Fi technology eliminates wiring hassles and enables people to connect to a network in an easy and effective way. Moreover, it enables you to create LANs with minimal infrastructure. Wi-Fi, in simple terms, is an amazing technology which enables devices to exchange data without a physical connection.
Wi-Fi is a different radio standard that was made by the Institute of Electronic and Electrical Engineers. It's called the 802.11 standard, and it ties up with Ethernet, and it basically tries to make a wireless endpoint to Ethernet networking. And it's an open standard, and it works on the unlicensed bands in the 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz spectrums.
This technology uses radio waves to transmit data and can be termed as a two-way radio communication, similar to the technology used in cordless phones or walkie-talkies. However, Wi-Fi devices transmit data at a radio frequency of 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz. The first protocol among Wi-Fi standards is the 80.211, created in the year 1997, and transmits data within the band of 2.4 GHz. However, with changing technology, the standard is not in use today.
So with Wi-Fi, everyone can just connect to it, whether you're a 3G provider or a WiMAX provider. You can just plug in and connect to Wi-Fi. It's an interesting and flexible technology. It's convenient, affordable, and allows for mobility.
While Wi-Fi technology is not new though, the excitement is the increasing number of Wi-Fi service providers springing up and foreign investors coming into the country. in the last few months. The message is that despite challenges, Nigeria offers growing opportunities to those who can take them.
What Wi-Fi has done anywhere in the world is that it helps and aids the 3G networks to deliver better quality of service, which means Wi-Fi has enough capacity because it's going to be everywhere you visit the most. And so not many people are connecting to it at the same time like the 3G networks.
So it's much cheaper to roll out a Wi-Fi network. It's much easier to develop simple business cases. Anyone can own a Wi-Fi network now. You can put one down in a coffee shop without having to buy a license for the spectrum.
In addition to the opportunity offered by Nigeria's population and dependence on mobile telephony, the poor quality of internet service currently provided by the GSM operators also make the Wi-Fi business a smooth ride. But don't forget that there is no perfect technology. What are the downsides of a Wi-Fi?
The Wi-Fi also has issues with penetration and all that, so which is why it's hotspots that you can build with Wi-Fi. Those are the challenges, but they're not downsides.
For news, views, trends in ICT globally and Africa in particular, watch AIT Infotech Network for the latest news and innovation in ICT for development in Africa. Plus, what technology can do for you from business to politics, tourism and culture. I am Bayero Agabi. You're welcome.
NIDA as an agency has a mandate, and this mandate is primarily for development of IT in the country, both infrastructure and human capacity. And this year we are giving scholarship too from each state for graduate master's degree in IT, foreign graduate master's degree in IT, and we are giving 6 scholarships for PhDs. And then we are, at the same time, building infrastructure. Not only are we looking at capacity building infrastructure in higher institutions, building IT infrastructure that will help in learning and education. ICT has a primary role to play in development of Nigeria. ICT cuts across all fields of human endeavor, and therefore we need to use that technology to help us to develop from area of education, from area of learning, from area of information, from area of medicine. It's in all fields of human endeavor. So what we are doing is to tap into that and use it as a tool.
And now our guest of the week, Musa Mori Baba, the Postmaster General, on the relevance of NIPOST in a digital age.
To what extent would you say you are proud to be part of the Ministry of Communications Technology in the past 1 year?
Thank you so much. Very much proud because initially people thought that the Nigerian Postal Service, or let me say the Post Office, does not belong to the communication outfit. But today I'm happy that they understand that the Post is part and parcel of communication, particularly when we are talking about ICT and so on and so forth. Yes. They want to believe that the Post Office does not have a place in ICT. And I do tell them that what is ICT? If you're talking about ICT, you are talking about internet, isn't it?
Yes.
More or less. So if you're talking about internet and then you are not bringing the post office, you have not started. Because as a matter of fact, internet is post office digitalized.
So the internet is not a threat to your activities?
It's not even a question of threat. Okay. I'm saying internet is post digitalized. It is the physical post office activities, processes that has been put electronically. So therefore we are of the same father and mother. So therefore the question of whether it's a threat or not does not arise. when you open your laptop, your computer, and you want to send messages and so on, what do you have? What logo do you see? The entire protocol of the internet is post office protocol.
Okay, so what would you say in notable form, that in ways that you say the ministry or the minister has done certain things that have impacted in your activity as an agency?
Thank you so much. The Nigerian government has done so well to have thought that there is a need to bring in birds of the same feather in one place. Today, the post office worldwide is driven by IT. In fact, the entire businesses in the whole world are driven by IT. But there are those that are more connected to IT than others. The post office, like I said, is more driven by the IT. And government has deemed it appropriate to bring NIDA, NICAMSAT, NCC, Galaxy, and the post office in one place. So if NIPOST were not to be there, or if Galaxy were not to be in that ministry, if NIDA were not to be in that ministry, if NICAMSAT were not to be in that ministry, it means that whatever I wanted, the minister had to go cap and begging for those activities or those facilities to be provided to NIPOST. But today, we eat from the same pot. So therefore, whatever I needed in terms of facilities of these areas to do my business, to drive my delivery services, it's only for her to say, need that GM, need that PMD, or NICAMSAT or Galaxy, look, hey, this is what I want you to give me.
So how would you rate the performance of the minister in the past 1 year?
You see, 1 year, sometimes I want to think that why are we in haste?
No, is the first ministry and the first minister, this is the first 1 year?
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm driving.
Yes,
I'm coming on. But I'm saying that I don't know why we are always in a haste to start celebrating a child after 1 year. Somebody that cannot even talk. Somebody that we have just delivered 24 months ago. Doesn't know his left and right. So what I'm saying that what the minister has been able to do is to put things in a place. So it is now that we will begin to reap the fruits of what she has done. It took her, I would say, in my own case, between 3 to 4 to 5, 6 months of briefing and telling her these are the things we wanted and this is how we think we will get these things and so on and so forth. And don't forget that the budget constraint is also another thing for you to start thinking that a new brand ministry will just wake up to today, tomorrow you start counting the blessings. So I'm saying she has identified what to be done and how they will be done in the next few months and so on, or a couple of a year or years, we begin to see the good things that he has actually put in place.
So as we went down the interview, let us now talk about NIPOST, your agency.
That's right.
One of the things that people do say is that with the advent of, like you said, the internet, the emailing system, people cannot attach document and all of those things and all that NIPOST
very relevant. But before I continue answering that question, let me say that I still want to emphasize on the fact that the minister came in last year around July, August. And already the budget for 2011 had already been input as far as the budget of 2011 was concerned. So therefore she only worked with what was available. Now the 2012 budget has just started coming out. So that is why I'm saying that the strategies of how to meet the mandate of the ministry is what has been put in place. And she is focusing seriously on that. Coming back to your question, the post office will ever remain relevant And what I want to tell people to understand is that when you talk about the post office, it is either the national operator like the Nigerian Postal Service, or you are talking about the courier service. So I want to know whether you want to tell me that tomorrow the courier service will not be there. And that is the post office. It is an arm of the post office. And I'm telling you that as long as a human being continues to breathe on earth, the post office will continue to be relevant, because somebody will have to move something from one place to another for the third party. And that is exactly what the post office is doing. The post office now delivers your mail, asks you to go to the what do you call it, these quick mail services, and asks you to deliver. You order thing through the internet, and I don't know what magic you use, in getting it to the last mile. So in that sense, the post office will continue to be relevant. My brother, why some people just think that the post office is not relevant? For those of you who live in Lagos, you don't need any post office. Because what you want, you can enter your vehicle and go and catch it. But you have forgotten that there are people who are elsewhere and they needed to be reached.
For news, views, trends in ICT globally and Africa in particular, watch AIT Infotech Network for the latest news and innovation in ICT for development in Africa. Plus, what technology can do for you from business to politics, tourism and culture. I am Bayero Agabi. You're welcome. Well, that's the show for the week. If you have any comments or suggestions for us, please send them to bayero@aitinfotechnetwork.com, or better still, you can tweet the number on your screen. And again, if you want to participate in our event, just log on to aitinfotechnetwork.com. Click on the event that you want and register. See you again.